I'm backing up my truck, I'm gonna hook it up, loading up my boat with all my gear. I've been working hard all week, trying to make ends meet, spending time wishing I was fishing. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing. Gather up your gear and come along. Well, Terry Wickstrom wants to take you fishing.
This is Terry Wickstrom. Join Karen Cullum, Greg Claggio, and me as we take you to some of our favorite fishing spots from Colorado to Minnesota, the Arctic Circle to Central America and beyond. As we revisit episodes of Mountain States Fishing and Angling Adventures Television on the best of fishing with Terry Wickstrom. We got a really interesting show for you today. We did a show with Captain Eric VanDemark, fishing for big fish out of the Everglades and Florida Bay, down out of Florida, obviously. And you may or may not have seen that show already, but while we were there, we took part of the day and went fishing just to go fishing for smaller fish. Went after some jacks, we went after some sea trout and numerous other species, and the big fish show came really good. It was intense and exciting. We had a shark attack one of the fish while we were catching it. But we also had this laid back, really good fishing for these smaller species, number of different species. And we thought, let's make another show out of that. Let's bring people out there. Maybe this is the kind of trip you take your kids on, your family on. Just go out and have a really good time. So we're going to take you for another day on the water with Captain Eric VanDemark, and we're going to be joined by Aaron Justy, and we're just going to go have a nice relaxing day of fishing for just some of the many smaller species that you can find off Florida Bay and the Everglades.
So Eric, what times of the year is the best time to come down here? Are there times that are better than others, times you're busier, times the fishing's better?
The best overall time of the year, I'd say April, end of April, all of May, all of June. The three major months are for tarpon. That's the big time season down here. There's a lot of fish here during that time. A lot of the migration, you're in the middle of both the southern migration and then the northern migration. So it allows us to target many, many different species. The winter time is really good because the temperatures aren't as hot. Most people enjoy South Florida during the winter time because it's much more tolerable heat, humidity, things of that nature. So, and there's a lot of species in the Everglades that we fish for, snook, redfish, stuff like that, even tarpon in the wintertime.
Usually the smaller tarpon in the wintertime.
No, the bigger tarpon.
Bigger tarpon?
We get some very, very large tarpon in the wintertime, January, February.
Okay.
Biscayne Bay, which is another place that I guide. Best bone fishing destination in the world, by far in the United States. It's the best. We got the biggest bonefish. Our bonefish love to eat flies. They're easier to catch on bait. They're not as spooky as some of the traditional places in the world. We got permit, we got tarpon there.
So you can get all the major, if you're a fly fisherman, the major species. If you're a fisherman in general, you've got snook, redfish, tarpon, cobia. Oh, there we go.
Ladyfish just tried to eat your bait right there.
Yeah.
He flung him out of the water. If you wait and watch, you'll see him.
Something's playing with it.
Got him. Let go. Close the bail. Set the hook. You got him. That's a ladyfish.
A ladyfish.
It's called a poor man's tarpon. See, jump like a baby tarpon.
It sure does. They're not very big, but it jumped nice.
Oh, he gonna jump again.
I'll tell you what we'll do, folks. We'll get the camera to get a close-up of this, and we'll blow it up and pretend I got a 20-pound tarpon on here.
These guys literally are the exact same family as tarpon. Exact same family. And they jump and they do everything and it looks just like a baby tarpon.
Oh, pretty fish.
Same family, and that's called a ladyfish. Tarpon love eating them.
You know, anything that pulls, that's the thing out here is the action is constant because there's something going on. You could be catching big fish that you don't even have a chance to land hardly, or just getting action on jacks and ladyfish and different species like that. So whatever you want to set up for a trip out here, you can make happen. So Eric, before we were interrupted there, you were telling me about the guides when they should come out. How do they get a hold of you?
You can go on my website. It's www.ghosthuntercharters.com, or you can call me on my cell phone, which is normally where you get me because I'm on the water all the time.
Right.
786-564-1540.
We'll put that information up here, and we'll have it again in the credits at the end of the show. So if you see something you think you'd like to do, go grab a pencil so you can write it down.
There you go. Let's catch some fish. Set the hook. Get ready because he's going to jump. He might jump. Just be ready.
No idea how big he is because he's coming towards me.
All right, watch him. He ain't done yet. What you got?
It's just a little
jack.
Little jack, I think.
Jack.
That's all right.
Jacks are good.
They're all fun. Not even that big.
No,
he thinks he is, though.
They think they are.
Now, what kind of a jack is that?
This is called a jack crevalle.
That's a jack crevalle with
This is a jack crevalle.
Okay. Well, I tell you, it still pulled my string, and
it's all good.
It's all fun. Well, you know, almost everywhere I go, I tell people, at least for the first time you go somewhere, it pays to get a guide. Right. But especially in a place like this.
Everywhere I go, no matter where I fish, if it's outside of my home waters, I hire a guide. You know, I don't want to go to Colorado, or I don't want to go to Alaska or someplace like that where I'm actually going to take my time. I'm going to use more time up trying to figure out where to fish than if I would if I just hired a guide.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's so much easier to do that.
Yep, I agree. You know, we travel all over doing the show, so we get, in the course of a season, what's maybe several years worth of trips to somebody, and we're on new water all the time. There's no way I'm in somebody else's domain. They've spent the time to learn the water, they know the fish, they know the forage, they know how to navigate the water, they know the idiosyncrasies of the area. It's foolish for me to come in and try to think that I'm going to be an expert in that area, when I can go with somebody like you, and who is an expert in the area. Whatever area I'm at, there's somebody like you in that area. It's going to make my fishing better, a better experience, and a safer experience. Right. Sitting here talking to Eric, and I felt a bump and then nothing. So I've been sitting here kind of drifting this bait, only it's been drifting in the mouth of another jack. He took it, swam to the bottom, and just kind
of hung around.
Yeah, he was there eating. This is a nice thing about fishing with a guide too. I hook him, give him to him, he unhooks him. I already have another rod in my hand that I'm fishing.
See, life is good when you don't actually have to do anything. You just come along, fish with me, and I do all the work for you.
Well, you know, and that's another thing when people are fishing, the little things that they think they know how to do, or that they are new to the area that the guide's doing for you and taking care of you on a regular basis. You're fishing while he's re-rigging rods.
Yeah, things that you don't have to do. You just fish, and I do the rest. Let me do what I do, and you'd be surprised.
Jump fish on.
Jump.
Well, I don't know how big it is, but it's a fish.
Jump. Jump, damn it.
Oh yeah, this is a little better than those little jacks I was catching. It might be a jack yet, but it's not. It hasn't showed me what it is yet.
Never know, never know.
It could be a snook or a redfish or a little tarpon or a jack or
catfish.
What is it?
Catfish. Don't touch him. Their pectoral fin and their dorsal fins are poisonous.
Now, is that a saltwater cat?
This is classified as a saltwater catfish, yes.
That's not the typical cats we see in the rivers and the lakes around here then. How bad is the...
Well, I had a buddy of mine that got stuck. See the bone right here?
Yeah,
there's a bone here.
Yeah, and one in each fin, yeah.
Right, one in each pectoral fin and his dorsal fin. And I had a friend of mine got stuck in the palm of his hand, and the bone broke off, and they almost had to airlift him to a hospital.
Wow.
That's how poisonous they are.
There we go. Speckled trout, another species. You know, I catch so darn many fish fishing with you. Now these, my first speckled trout, I understand they have a toothy mouth in them. Is that right?
Yeah. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure we get the, so we don't leave, we're going to leave the hook in, but it's better to cut them off as close as you can so you can, you don't kill the fish.
Now tell us about this fish. This is a speckled sea trout.
Speckled sea trout. They've got the big fangs in the front that you see here. They'll have two of them most time.
Okay.
Okay, they get fairly large. Mainly in the wintertime, we get much bigger ones in the wintertime. Summertime, smaller fish, but just as abundant, and they're great for catching. They're a lot of fun. Light tackle.
Is this a fish people eat? Or
yeah, this is an eating species.
And are they like freshwater trout as far when you eat them, or are they different?
Yeah, same basic texture, stuff like that, but just a really fun fish to catch on light tackle.
It's like the panfish of this area.
Right. Once you get into a school, you'll catch you sit here and catch 20, 30, 50 of them. Just have an absolute ball.
I know it didn't take long, that was for sure.
We have some seasons that are closed where you can't keep any. Right now you can keep 4 per person per day. You can keep 1 over 20 inches and that's it.
And how big do they get?
Down here, average 20, 23 inches.
Oh, so that was really a little one.
This was a little guy, yeah, but in the wintertime they get much bigger, and as the waters warm up, they kind of go north and hang out up on the north side of Florida, so where the waters are a little cooler.
One of the things I like about fishing with Eric is it seems like every time I cast, he's introducing me to a new species.
It's time now for Terry's tackle tip of the week.
So you like to use the offset eye on the hook.
I use an offset eye and an offset shank, which it is, they call it a bent up eye, which is bent up.
And that's an eagle claw hook.
This is an eagle claw hook, and then what they do is they have what's called an offset barb or an offset shank, and it just means that it's offset, it's not directly in line. A lot of hooks you'll see, they'll actually bend up and they'll come right up dead even with the eye.
Right.
This is offset, so when you set the hook, it has a tendency to catch either the left or the right corner of the fish's mouth, which makes it a little bit easier to get a hook in.
Now you like to use a snell type knot to tie them on.
Right. This turned up eye allows me to do what they call a snell. And the reason I like this is the harder the fish pulls, the tighter the knot gets. So you always leave a little bit of extra overhang. But what I normally do is I run the line through like this, and then what I try to do is I make a loop over the top just like that. And then the idea is to be able to take this and go around 5 times. And what you're doing is you're going around the hook and the end of the line that you put through the eye. You go around 5 times, just like that. And what I do is I kind of tuck it up, and then you take this little piece that you've been wrapping around and you slowly pull on it like that.
A perfect snell, easy to tie. How many times you've seen snelled hooks, you don't know how to tie them? Here's a great easy snell knot to tie. You just trim the tag end off, and a couple things a snell will do for you will trim this tag end off.
And what I like to do is, because it's going to tighten up just a little bit, I like to leave just a little bitty tag in, about 1/4 of an inch, and it's not going to interfere with the bait. It doesn't get in the way of anything.
Another thing a snell does is it keeps that straight, the line, shank of the hook in line with the line.
Right, so when you set a hook on a traditional hook, it might actually pull the hook down or left or right or up because it's not in line. But with a snell, it pulls in directly in line with the shank of the hook, which gives you a better hook set.
That was Terry's tackle tip for this week, and now back to more angling adventures.
He's trying to shake it off in the water. He doesn't want to show you, but
That is a ladyfish. Very, very small cousin to the tarpon. Behaves the same way, jumps the same way. We only wish the tarpon ate the same way the ladyfish does. Yes, we do. Devour whatever moves.
you get slimed by a 20-inch pike and you get mad. You get slimed by a, oh, he's chasing it. Is that a ladyfish?
He's on it. Yeah,
He's on.
We got other ones trying to eat the shrimp up the line.
You got those ladyfish figured out. Fish on?
Yep, fish on. I'm sitting there talking to you and I'm not paying any attention. Big trout.
Oh, all right. Let's get it in. I'll tell you, these trout are just constant action, aren't they?
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, nice trout. Nice trout. A lot of types of fishing. You know, we can chase giant fish out here, but sometimes people don't want to spend, like we could go back in some of those holes you took me in. We could spend all day for 6 or 8 bites and spend a half hour fighting each one and maybe land 1 or 2. Or you could come in a place like this and just have cast after cast and reel in fish and have the time of your life. We should give a good close-up of that tooth on that fish. That's a speckled sea trout.
Speckled sea
They're
trout.
a pretty
They all
fish.
have that single fang in the front.
He's not gonna bite me, huh?
Nope, I got his jaw.
You don't let, boy, that is something though.
Very sharp. That's so they don't let go. Once they get a hold of it, and it just kind of curls right up inside so you can't see it.
Yep, it does.
But when they get a hold of something, they are pretty.
Oh, they're a beautiful fish, and they're a constant type action fish. You come out here, put some bait on or a lure on. They're easily caught with lures too.
Absolutely. Topwater, jigs, flies are great on fly.
Oh, awesome. And
A lot
you
of fun.
And you just bang, 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 bang.
Yep. great experience and just a joy to catch.
Ah, another troutster. Yeah, I don't mess around with those ladyfish.
Wow, nice trout.
You come up here and help me land this, and I want to tell the folks about another important tool that we use.
See, he's got the two teeth in the top.
Oh yeah, and the hook right in the corner of the mouth.
Yep.
Nice trout. We're out here, the breeze is blowing. It's a beautiful warm day in May. But one of the things I want to talk about, we're on this flat and we're fishing, and a lot of the fishing you do, you also guide in Biscayne Bay.
Right.
Now we're not doing a lot of sight fishing here, although we're watching our baits and seeing the fish attack them, and it's a lot of fun. But one of the important tools when you're doing a lot of the fishing you do is being able to see in the water. And you and I are both involved with the company, Flying Fisherman Sunglasses.
Absolutely.
And you're wearing a pair of their glasses, and I've got a pair of their clip-ons. And great sunglasses are critical to this kind of fishing, to the sight fishing.
Right. You'll find a lot of offshore guys use a dark colored sunglasses, which is the traditional type of sunglasses. When you're fishing shallow waters, I highly recommend, if you ever fish any kind of shallow water, you've got to use what they call an amber lens. It's almost like a rust color, but it's an off red color, amber color, and it lights up the bottom, and you can see so much more. And these new amber glasses, these are Catalinas. These are their brand new glass sunglasses, and they're just absolutely incredible.
Well, one thing about Flying Fisherman too is they make glasses starting at $15 up to $150. And all the glasses they make, there's different features. There's unbreakable lenses, there's ground glass lenses like these, which are the finest optics you can buy. Even their inexpensive glasses have great polarization and great UV protection, and so you can buy and get a good fishing glass in whatever model you buy, because the biggest reason they were born down here on the Florida Keys, they weren't sunglasses made for other uses adapted to fishing. They were sunglasses made for fishermen.
Right. These Flying Fisherman sunglasses were designed by fishermen for fishermen, and that's what makes them such a great product. And they're in a price range that everybody can afford. You can get the expensive ones, or you can get the basic entry level, and they all work the same, and they're all just as good a quality.
Look them up. Look them up on the website, flyingfisherman.com. What you got?
Another little trout.
Another trout. Boy, I tell you, once you get into them, they just go, don't they?
Yeah, you could just, it's got craziness.
And the easy release.
Now, do you come out here? I know you release most of the fish you catch, but you come out at some of the days, take a few of these home, or?
Yeah, there's days where we come out and, we have a desire at home, me and my wife and daughter. We have a desire to catch, to have some fish. We'll come out and we'll catch and keep just enough to go ahead and feed the family for the night, and then everything else we kind of throw back.
What about if your clients want to keep a couple? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, we're okay with that. We just, we try not to kill too many.
Just keep, and most of the species you're catching release fish for.
Right.
But maybe ones like this once in a while if they
Trout,
want.
redfish, and snook are probably the three most popular species out here as far as keeping.
Most people are coming here to sport fish, so they're
Correct.
not coming here to meet fish.
Right.
But if occasionally somebody wants one, there is some options for that.
There are options.
Yeah.
We definitely can send you home with something to eat for dinner.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh,
Nice fish.
Hello, nice fish.
Oh yeah.
Nice fish.
Yeah.
There we go. Go easy.
You got a,
Catfish.
yeah, I was gonna say either a foul hook or a catfish.
Well, I tell you what, though, the action just keeps going with you. Small fish or little fish in the ocean. When we found out too that little fish don't live long out here once you get them on sometimes. All right.
Back out.
Now you were telling me before on these catfish that these are real. There's a real potential to hurt yourself on
Yeah,
these.
you can get real hurt with these guys. Greatest tool in the world.
I'll tell you what, the action we're out on a flat right now, and a shallow. How deep is this water, Eric?
Right now we're at about 2 feet, 2.5.
And we're just casting and reeling in, and the ladyfish killer. And as you can see, there's a fish on constantly, not always the species we're casting for, but the action just never quits. What a way to spend a day. There's a lot of people that love to fish that never catch fish. You could go out in a place like this, Aaron, and if you get a guide like Eric and you just want to catch fish, go after the trout, the jacks, and just catch fish to no end.
Absolutely. I think the key, if and I'm sure the camera's panned around a few times, the key is to find someone who knows what they're doing to help you out at least the first 1 or 2 times to kind of try to show you what Eric's been showing us today.
Oh yeah, because it's vast. If you're not used to being down here, you're not going to locate these fish. You've got to come and get a guide that would tell you, even if you're going to live down here, get a guide a few times to teach you the water, the techniques. You know, I get to fish all over the world, different techniques, and I don't begin to pretend that I could come down here and be successful without somebody like Eric helping me. You know, this would be
Still managed to
if
take
you
a
wanted to
beat.
take your kids out on a fishing trip, an option like this.
This is the deal for kids.
Oh, because you know, some of the fishing I've done with you at other times, like fishing for the big cobia and fishing for the big tarpon, you have to have a lot of patience, because even if you may only hook up a few fish in a day,
Right.
and even if you do, you may not land them.
Correct.
But with fishing for with a bunch of kids, or you're younger, somebody who hasn't fished a lot, your wife, your kids, oh, missed it. I'm busy talking. You get out here in a setting like this, and they're catching fish and having fun.
Right.
You got one on too?
No, I'm working on it. Hold on. Don't bring them in yet.
But you got one, I got one, and Aaron's got one following, and I lost mine.
Oh.
We all had fish on at the same time. We were gonna all try to land them at the same time. Mine came off and he missed his.
I tell you what, I hope you enjoyed that, and hope you get to see the show with the big fish, because it was intense. I tell you, Eric was a great guide, and you want to get a hold of him. I'm sure we had his information up during the show. We'll have it again in the credits. Book a day with Captain Eric, and you'll just have the time of your life. If you want to chase big fish, intense fishing, he'll take you there. If you want to have a day in the water just catching fish, make your next angling adventure with Eric and join us next week.